Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel, the Galilee, on Wednesday, the 12th of February, and it's about 9:46 in the morning. And they're trying to tell us we're getting rain, and I don't think we are. There was a few drops before, and now they're saying we'll have rain between 12 and 1, but only 35%. Then later in the afternoon, then later in the evening, I don't know anymore with them. But Israel certainly did not recover or get back to where they were with the rain because it's been a dry winter. And after today, they show partially cloudy and sunny all the way through Wednesday of next week when they're saying a 40% chance of rain and forecasting this far out with a probability of 40% is not real, encouraging for the rain. Uh, I am getting it all over the place. I'm having problems in the world system everywhere. I'm doing my spiritual warfare. I'm going after it, but it's just one thing after another, you know. And he delivers me from it all, but it's something, and it takes my time and energy away when you call companies or governments. It's at least 20 to 60 minutes of your time. They try to walk you through a maze of, push button, voicemail things. It's just so stupid. I don't know how these Israelis let the country go like this, but okay. Today's going to be a big one. I mean, I'm just going to do it, lay it on you. It's huge regarding what's going on with um, Trump and Yahoo, Gaza hostage release. And I want you to remember what I'm going to say now because it's actually going to appear in prophecy. Uh-huh. Saturday, 12 o'clock noon. Saturday noon. Saturday noon. Ceasefire is over. Remember that. You'll be rather shocked later in the broadcast when I read you the prophecy using words. Noon. Okay. Uh, Always got to leave room for me making an error, but I'm not so sure this is an error anymore. I think this is real. Um, all right. So it also looks like it's triggering the year of redemption, which means it's triggering the year of the day of vengeance. Yeah, I'm real. I'm telling you. I could be wrong, you know that, but I don't think so. You make your own decisions when I read you the scriptures. It's rather shocking and in a good way for us, not for the world, but really, really good for us. So sorry, I'm a little beaten down with all the problems I'm getting. I don't want to name them because then these jackasses listen and they make trouble. So I'm having it left, right, and it's not left. Yeah, I'm getting it pretty bad all over the place. It's really consuming my time, and it's got my wife upset. I'm somewhat upset. It's just so annoying. Okay, we will proceed. I'm going to go into the live stream, put my posts up, and move forward. But please pray for me and my problems with the world system. And it's really getting overwhelming now. It's like I got a list of fires to put out every day, and it's just driving me crazy. Um, Yesterday I was doing the live stream and my screen was working. It was showing me movement, yet it blacked out. Remember that? And then before that, I was trying to delete notes, a little bit of my notes, so I could make the notes I didn't cover easier to read, easier to spot. And it obliterated all my notes for what I planned that day. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to deliver that. Then I tried to do it manually without my notes, and that's, I think, when the screen went black. So for some reason, I wasn't supposed to deliver that message. So we're going to let that lay black. So for some reason, I wasn't supposed to. Okay. So I'm cleaning up the live stream here. Boy, they were all in here today. I got the garbage out. Oh, I missed one. I missed another one. Sorry, I got to get rid of these people that are putting in nasty remarks. Be sure I loaded them this morning. They just come in and post and run away, but I block them so they can't come in anymore. All right, let me put my posts up. It'll be a minute. Then we'll get going. Almost there. Keep the prayers coming, that I could stay focused, the energy to finish this, because my mind is still, I'm trying to block out all this junk I'm trying to fix, but it's just incredibly massive. I mean, it's just every day something. All right. I'm old, and the other problem is I get up 5 6 in the morning, and by the time I finish with the broadcast, it's usually 6, 7 hours. And I'm knocked out, and then I gotta stop and start dealing with the world system. It's very hard. I just don't want to do it. I'm tired. I'm not young. Okay. Um. So let's do some praise, and we'll start. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. All right. Let me get in my notes and we'll get started. I got to give you a pretty good update as to what's going on with the Gaza situation. First, we got some prayer requests, okay? For EY, Echo Yellow, EY, Echo Yellow, EY. Prayer request for EY and the wife to get a court document removed. I don't want to say what it is specifically. No problems before its removal. And EY and the wife get along lovingly, both walking with the Lord. We prayed for these two to get reconciled together a few weeks ago, and that happened. So one more time, EY, Echo Yellow, and wife pray they get a court document removed without any problems before the removing, and they get along lovingly, both walking with the Lord. Okay, toss requests for CB, Charlie Bravo, CB, Charlie Bravo, toss. Toss requests for BS, Bravo Sierra. Toss requests for BS, Bravo Sierra. Okay, RG, Romeo Gold, RG, Romeo Gold, RG. Prayers for RG and family, protection, safety, and peace and joy. So for RG and family, protection, safety, peace, and joy. Jordan agrees to take refugees from Gaza. And that was when the King of Jordan went to see Trump. Trump apparently gave him billions, is what I heard. And is he's already accepting a bunch of them that are wounded, injured, sick for hospital care. I understand it's 2,000, and I think most or a lot or some are children. So Jordan submitted to the Donald. But the King of Jordan is very weak. He's up in Ammon, which is the capital. And in the Bible, that part of northern Jordan is called Ammon. They submit to Israel in these coming days, not years, days. Um, the people in Jordan that are pro Hamas terrorism and all of that are about 11 million, I understand. And they there's a lot of concern and fear that they may overthrow the king of Jordan. I don't know if that happens or not. Jordan consists of Ammon in the north and Moab, which is the lower area, and Moab gets destroyed, but Ammon submits to Israel and prospers. So they may divide the country with rebellion or something. I'm not sure yet. Okay. Egypt canceled their trip to the White House. They don't even want to talk about it with Trump. Um, there's they submitted some foolish plans where they're going to rebuild Gaza and keep everybody there. See, the guy, this is my take on it. Al Sisi or Sisi, the goof that runs Egypt, which is allegedly half Jewish, he has big problems like the King of Jordan, and his big problems come from the Muslim Brotherhood. And they may overthrow him if he stands still and lets Israel turn the place over to Trump and evacuate everybody, stuff like that. Now, it says Egypt will have a cruel and wicked leader. Well, we have to open our eyes and think maybe Al Sisi is that. For all these years since 2008, he let Gaza build tunnels into Egypt. Now, how can he not understand there were tunnels? There were tunnels you can drive large trucks through. Okay, and that was just designed so you couldn't get photographic, evidence that he was helping Gaza attack Israel, which he was. He must have let, I worked it out once, several hundred trucks in, maybe 500 big trucks full of concrete, probably more, probably 1,500 truckloads or 3,000 or something, because they built hundreds of miles of tunnels. And the tunnels have concrete that's probably about that thick on the walls, the ceiling, the sides with metal reinforcers every so many yards, concrete floors, many steel blast doors to partition it. The doors look like, on a Navy ship, what they use to close the sections off. Big, thick doors. Navy ship doors are not designed to stop somebody, an enemy, from breaking through. The Gaza tunnel doors were. And they would also stop liquids like water, like a Navy ship. But I don't think they were that airtight. They were probably pretty tight, not watertight like a Navy ship, but tight enough to keep the water out. Navy ships, it's a different thing when your ocean is pushing in, the pressure is immense. Compared to a measly little tunnel filled with water, the pressure is nowhere near what you would get on a Navy ship that has a hole in the side letting the water in. It wouldn't be even close. Okay. So the Egypt ceasefire is an idiot thing. Trump will not go along with it because Trump wants Gaza. And it's idiotic. Israel wouldn't want it either. Now there's hundreds of tanks set up on the border with Egypt and Israel. Now I don't know if putting up borders, I don't know where these borders are. Let me see if I can find it in the news. Where they are. I know they were putting tanks and armored vehicles outside of Gaza. I think it's Gaza. I don't think it's around Israel. I think it's Gaza. Let me keep looking for another minute. We're not getting any alarms from our government. But they could be, I don't know. Maybe it's true. I don't know yet. They might be on our border, not just the Gaza border. But the government of Israel's not alerted us. Now, hundreds of tanks is dangerous because our aircraft can take them out, but that would be a big job to take out hundreds. So I don't think Israel's expecting an invasion from Egypt, but you never know. I think Trump would help Israel if Egypt tried to attack, but and that's why I don't think Egypt's trying to do it. I think Egypt's got the tanks there to make sure the Gazan people don't get out into Egypt. Maybe to have them on a border with Israel, not just Gaza, because they don't want Israel taking them from Gaza into Israel and then into Egypt. I think it's just to stop the Gazans from coming into Egypt. I don't think there's any more to that right now. That could change. Trump is saying that he's going to cut off aid and military aid to Egypt and put sanctions on them if they don't take the Gazans. So Egypt is in a desperate mode right now. So I imagine when you look at Jordan, they probably would take roughly 1 million hostages in Egypt, another million. Trump is now saying, no, we're not going to buy Gaza. It's stupid. It's a wasteland. No, we're going to have it gifted to us so we can rebuild it. So the selling of Gaza to America is gone because the UN would start screaming, you had no right to do this, and they're probably right. I don't know, according to their worldly laws. But Trump never winds up with Gaza in Bible prophecy, so we can just imagine that ain't never going to happen, okay? Trump did say that Israel annexing the West Bank, Samaria, and Judea would be a good thing, would work. So Trump's going to let Netanyahu push that through. So can you imagine how infuriated the Arab world plus other countries are going to get very soon? Israel attacks Iran, attacks Gaza, doesn't leave Lebanon, and annexes the West Bank. The curious thing that I picked up is China, a subscriber sent it to me. China has built or is in the process of building a $3.4 billion container port in Freeport, Bahamas, which is 112 miles away from Miami. This, I am told, can be rapidly converted into a Navy base. Well, not a Navy base, a Navy port where ships could come in to refuel and take supplies and repairs and change the crew and stuff like that. Another interesting one is Elon Musk has, said that there are Social Security recipients that have been receiving Social Security and they're 150 years old. Well, that's fraud. What happens is when people die, the money would be either mailed with a check. That was the old days. I don't know if they still do it. They might. They probably do. Or they just put it in a bank account, right? Or they give them a debit card and they take it out of the ATM machines. So people, multi-generations now, have been taking their Social Security money from their dead relatives and never telling Social Security and just keeping money. And Social Security doesn't bother checking death certificates and stuff like that, apparently. So according to Musk, there's millions of people stuck in Social Security that are long dead. Now they might go after these people that have been taking the money, but I don't think they're ever going to recover any money from these people. That'll cut the Social Security payrolls down by a bunch anyway. So I don't know exactly how they do it, because you need a bank account. You can't go to Social Security and say, hand me my cash, Years ago, I was on unemployment insurance. I was like 50 years ago or more. And I remember going to Social Security in California, and I would show up and they would give me a piece of paper that said you had to fill out a form that you listed places you went to for a job or something, and they didn't check anything. And then I was not a believer then, and then you went to another window and you gave them that paper, and it was like a teller, and they just handed you the cash. You went through one of those drawers behind a big, thick, bulletproof glass thing, and you just got your cash. But I never heard of that with Social Security. They used to mail you a check. I don't know if they still do. They probably do. And then you go to a check cashing place. But how do they do this? They don't have ID. Because all the ID is photo ID now. So I don't know how the heck they cash it. They probably have stores that do it. Because people would cash their Social Security checks at stores because the store knew it never bounced. So they did it as a favor if the people were buying groceries and stuff like that. Liquor stores probably did it, you know. So that's probably how they were doing it. Because the stores just take it, they sign it on the back, and then the supermarket puts a stamp on it, you know, for deposit only to this account, and it goes through. Um, Debit cards, they might be able to do that. If the person had a debit card and they died, they keep the debit card, and then when it's going to expire, they mail them a new card, and they just keep using it, you know, for years. Uh, you know, this kind of thing. Doing it with a bank would work in the short term. The banks never know the person's dead, right? So they would use the debit or the credit card from the bank to go to the machine and take the money out. Um, you know, any old ATM machine that accepts Social Security debit cards, take the money out. And then when the card expires, they probably mail them a new one. So they could conceivably get away with this for 10 years or something, you know? So somebody could be getting, you know, $2,500 a month from a dead relative for 10 years. They don't have the money. People like that are likely putting it in their arm or drinking it or something like that. They just don't care. And they might also be getting pension checks from private pension funds doing the same thing. Or the pension could be auto deposit in the bank and they just keep using the debit card and that kind of thing. So Elon Musk is not worried about the private pension, but they're going to want to get the names of these people from the government that are dead because they're going to want to see if any of them are in their pension fund and cancel the pensions. Trump said $1 billion worth of weapons are now on their way to Israel. So I would guess they're being transported by aircraft, possibly by ships as well. I don't know. But they'll probably be here in days. All right. Now, what's the critical thing? Oh, the other thing about now, 4 days ago, Trump said that Iran is scared. And they're going to give him a nuclear treaty, which is going to be monitored closely. So there's no chance of them ever developing a nuke. Or they're going to be bombed. And then he said Israel would attack them. And he also said Iran has no air defenses. They never rebuilt what Israel destroyed around their nuclear facilities. I need a quick break. I'll be right back. So Iran is sitting basically naked for their nuclear facilities anyway. look at Bible prophecy, it seems that Egypt is going to get it. But I'm not focusing on Egypt right now. I don't know clearly about the timing on that yet. But we're not going to delve into Egypt much. So Trump said after the hostages came back, the 3 hostages that were emaciated, and he said they looked like concentration camp survivors, which they did. He said that Gaza needs to give back all the hostages. He was very clear. He elaborated all the hostages by noon on Saturday, or all hell would break loose and Israel should break the ceasefire and all bets are off the table, do what they want to do. Netanyahu, being afraid of getting thrown out of office by a vote of no confidence, is likely going to attack Gaza. Knowing Netanyahu, well, he's already activated reserves, called up the military, gone, bringing all kinds of troops, probably right now, today, tomorrow, down to Gaza. Armored columns, tanks, mobile artillery, armored personnel carry everything. He's bringing the kitchen sink down there. But he intends to not just bomb it, invade it. So I don't know what their plan is for the civilians, but it's probably going to run along the lines of move to this part of Gaza. If you don't move, you're in danger of getting hurt and killed. Okay? And that's it. Then they'll probably invade. There's not a lot left to bomb. Why should he run around bombing debris? Why should Israel bomb debris? There are remaining tunnels, and I imagine by now or in a few days, Israel will have a bunch of Moab bombs, and they'll drop the bombs on the tunnels. These 22,000-pound bunker buster bombs. I'll probably feel it here, and I'm several hours. I'm probably 6-hour car drive from Gaza, and I'll probably feel it and destroy the tunnels and rattle the Gazans. Now, Hamas said that it does no good to threaten us. We're not interested. Now, let me check the live stream. I'm getting trepidations that there is no live stream working. We'll have a bunch of Moab bombs. No, we're good. I'm getting to the Bible prophecies. Not one prophecy was filled in the New Testament. Well, I don't know where you get that from, but that's not true information. If my reception is going in and out and you're the only one stating it, it means it's on your end. So there's something with your internet provider or something. It's not me. Or I'd have 8 or 10 people posting, or a good number of people, and I'm not getting any of that. So there's something wrong with you. Let's see. Someone asked me about the Holy Temple. Read Malachi 3, read Ezekiel 37, the last three verses. Read Ezekiel chapter 40 to 48. Read the book of Joel. There you have it. So Netanyahu is the type of guy that he's going to probably attack Gaza at noon or a minute after noon. He's not going to wait. Trump said they're doling the hostages out 2 or 3, 4 at a time. Don't put up with that, you know. See, the thing has to blow up because the second phase, which starts around March 1st or 2nd, I think, it means that Israel has to completely withdraw all troops out of Gaza. If we do that, evacuating the people out of Gaza will not work unless Trump stages a large invasion of American forces. And he could do that. I don't know. I don't think so, but he could. I doubt it. But Trump's plans go up in smoke for Gaza as a resort. So Netanyahu is not going to do that, and Trump doesn't want that. Trump apparently wants to shut down the Russia-Ukraine war because he sees it as stupid. He doesn't care that much about Ukraine. He wants those rare earth metals and minerals like lithium and stuff like that. So he has a good supply. He doesn't have to use other countries that he doesn't want to get along with too well, right? And I heard Zelensky just said he's willing to give up some land for peace with Russia. Zelensky in Ukraine, that's the one who runs Ukraine, just destroyed a massive Russian oil refinery, a huge one. It was last night. So Russia's oil refineries could be down by as much as 25% now, probably 20% anyway. This keeps going, and Trump gives Ukraine longer range weapons to go deeper into Russia. It would appear to me in a few weeks, if Trump gave him, 100 of these missiles that go 300 miles or so, or even 500 miles, and he has drones that go quite far like that, so he could swarm attack refineries with drones and missiles. He could probably, in a 2-week period, get probably 50% of Russia's oil refineries destroyed, which puts Russia in a bad way. They got to supply oil for their own military, their own country. They're not going to have a lot of oil left to sell. So the income of Russia goes whoop. The Russian income, the gross, for the country, could go down, 50%. Or 40% or something like that. So we would cripple Russia. So Russia's probably rather well motivated to make some sort of a deal with Ukraine if he can keep something that he took in Ukraine. But Trump will make sure he can't keep the area where there's something like $3 trillion worth of precious minerals and metals, not gold and silver, other stuff that's valuable for industry like lithium. And Trump wants that. And Trump, even though there's no war, could still trade Zelensky weapons for that, because Zelensky will want to stack up tanks and artillery and bombs and guns and bullets and all sorts of stuff, drones and whatever, aircraft. So he can fortify the country against the future incursion from Russia, and that would make Zelensky and Trump both happy. So Putin's in the way of this, so he's got to persuade Putin, but knocking off his oil refineries doesn't kill a lot of people at all. And it puts Russia in a lousier position with BRICS to undermine the US dollar because he has less oil to trade in BRICS, and it cripples his economy. So he might get there. Some of Trump's people flew into Russia and took a guy out of Putin took him out of the prisons and gave him an American and gave him to the delegation from America to fly him back, and they met Trump at the White House, and Trump didn't even trade anybody for it. So Putin did that as a sign of good faith and good gesture. So Putin would like the war to stop too, I think. So they are going to try to shut that thing down. Whether it'll be successful or not, we got to watch and wait. I don't know yet. But it's not going to matter too much either. All right. So now, remember, Saturday at noon is the deadline, right? So let's go into Zephaniah chapter 2, not Zechariah, Zephaniah chapter 2. Here we go, verse 1. Zephaniah 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation, not O goyim, is what the word is, not desired. Before, it could be a heathen nation. Before the decree, bring forth, before the day pass, as the chaff before the fierce anger of the Lord. The chaff is the garbage in the harvest that you burn up and throw away. Well, you burn it up. Before the day of the Lord's anger, that need not be the great day of the Lord. That's the Lord's anger. That could very likely be the day of vengeance come upon you. Seek you, Jehovah, all you meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Okay, so your peace and safety, protection from the wrath to come is not a rapture up to heaven, although the goofy church people, some of them will tell you that. And here we go, verse 4. For Gaza shall be forsaken. What is forsaken? Well, forgotten. And Ashkelon, and the rabbis seem to think Ashkelon is basically northern Gaza Strip. Okay, although there is a city in Israel called Ashkelon at the north of the Gaza Strip, it appears more likely in the old days the northern part of Gaza was called Ashkelon. Now, maybe that's my best interpretation of that. A desolation. So the Lord doesn't appear to be making Ashkelon and Israel a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod. Again, that's another city in Israel, north of Gaza. But maybe that was in Gaza at one time too. They shall drive out Ashdod. Now let's research Ashdod. It's a Philistine city on the Mediterranean Sea. So it's supposed to be modern Ashdod. I've never heard of Ashdod. Where is that? Let's take a look. getting Ashdod's coming up as Ashdod. Let's go back. Ashdod is what it is in Hebrew. It's the same as Ashdod, I believe. Yeah. So that would pertain to Gaza. And then Ekron pops up. And that's northern Gaza. For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashdod a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. They shall drive out, that's North Gaza. That's a real problem area. That's where Hamas is now. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday. When is the peace treaty over, according to Netanyahu? The deadline to return all hostages, which is 59 or some figure like that. The noonday on Saturday. So why does it say they shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday? The word is to share. It generally means noon, like high noon with the gunfights in the Western, so 12 noon. Midday, noon, yeah. Why does it say that? And it happens to be when Netanyahu is most likely going to start attacking northern Gaza. I'll be right back. Isn't that a little bit remarkable, possibly? What do you think? You don't often see noonday. So we can say a few things. This is a coincidence. You can say that. It's up to you if you want to say that. I don't like to believe in coincidence. We need to talk about other things that could happen. The weapons, the $1 billion in weapons coming from Trump may not be here by Saturday. The ones that Netanyahu needs, if they're coming by ship, maybe the Moab bombs, I don't know. And Netanyahu, Hamas may get scared and say, okay, we'll give you the 3 hostages as scheduled, and Netanyahu might back off, but then it'll just blow up, and it'll be another Saturday at noon, probably between now and March 1st, which is not a tremendous amount of time. But it looks like we're looking good. You see, what they're not telling you is Hamas is trying to make a mockery of Judaism in Israel and starving the hostages like they did in the concentration camps. And that is too much. So I don't think it's going to wait. But it will blow up for sure when it comes time for Israel to evacuate Israel. Now, Trump said casually, without elaborating, Israel has to leave Lebanon on February 18th when this ceasefire is over. Well, Israel doesn't want to leave Lebanon. Now, when the ceasefire is over, well, let me finish my notes in the scripture and then I'll show you the other. It gets better. And Ekron shall be rooted up. What does rooted up mean? Dug up, I guess. Plucked up. Exterminate is a good way of looking at that. Remember, the big problem in Gaza is up in the north. That's where Hamas is, and that's your Ekron and Ashdod in Gaza, okay? Woe, they were probably small cities in Gaza, okay? Woe unto the inhabitants of the sea coast, the heathen of the Cherethites. That word means like executioners. David's personal bodyguards, I think we'll call Cherethites. These are bad dudes. The word of Jehovah is against you, O Canaan, the land of the Philistines. I will even destroy thee, that there shall be no inhabitant. Oh, it's going to get better, guys. Let me keep reading. And the sea coast, that's Gaza, shall be dwellings and cottages for shepherds and for folds of flocks. But having a cottage or a little house on the beach there with the Mediterranean would be delicious. A little outside patio by your house. You get up in the morning, you go outside, you sit down in the sun, have your coffee, take your dog for a walk on the beach, or take a little dip in the water. The Mediterranean doesn't get that cold. It gets cold, but not that bad. And remember, we're South Mediterranean down there by Gaza, okay? So it's not going to be like Europe Mediterranean. It's going to be warmer. And the seacoast shall be dwellings and cottages for shepherds and folds for flocks. Now, notice it doesn't say, and the seacoast shall be for gambling casinos, condominiums, big resorts, bikini beaches, strip joints, prostitutes, narcotics. You know, that's what Trump would build. Okay, that's not what's going to happen. Forget about it. Okay, verse 7. And the coast shall be for the remnant of the house of Trump. No, it doesn't say that. For the house of Judah. Now that's who's here now. So this is probably going to happen before the lost tribes are here, before the great Exodus, or it would say, I don't know what, it would say Israel and Judah, or for the house of Israel or something, right? They shall feed thereupon in the houses of Ashkelon. So there might be some houses of Ashkelon left, I guess. Does it say by? Yeah, it says by house Ashkelon. Shall they lie down in the evening, for Jehovah Elohim shall visit them and turn away their captivity. That's redemption. That's the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds. That's it. Does it look close? What do you think? Does it look close? I have heard the reproach of Moab. Now we're in central southern Jordan. Okay? The middle of Jordan to the end of Jordan. I get to the bottom of Jordan. Not the top to the bottom. And the revilings of the children of Ammon, northern Jordan, Jordan, that's where the capital is, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Oh, Jordan has troops on the border for some months now with this Gaza war. The alibi is to stop the Jordanian people that are pro-terrorists from rushing into the West Bank. Magnified against their border. Well, they're there. Quite a bit of troops. Therefore, as I live, saith Jehovah of armies, the Elohim Israel, God of Israel in English, I guess, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah. That's called a wasteland. Even the breeding of nettles and salt pits. And that salt was in Sodom. You could pick up pieces off the ground. It smells like sulfur, from the fire and brimstone. I have some of that here in the house somewhere. I don't know where it is anymore. And the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them. Oh, now this could happen after redemption, or not, maybe before. Let's see if we find out. Because we're going to be fighting after redemption with sling stones, okay? And the remnant of my people shall possess them. That's Ammon mostly, as I understand it. Maybe some from Moab, but I think predominantly Ammon, or all from Ammon. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of Jehovah of hosts. Jehovah will be terrible unto them. Doom and gloom. What's the word for terrible? 3372. Yeah, let me sound this out right. Yirah. Scare them is what it's more than anything. Frighten, scare them. Okay. Terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the land. It doesn't say earth, it says Hieris, the land. It's probably referencing the land of Jordan. And then, they add the word men, and shall worship him, everyone from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. I understand that to be North and South America. Maybe I'm wrong, because it's sort of by itself. Asia's sort of got isles too, like Taiwan, for instance, but they're all, so I don't know. Maybe it's all of them, Africa connects to the Middle East, which connects to Europe, so maybe that's why it doesn't go on. Probably. Now we're in verse 12. Yea, Ethiopians also, you shall be slain by my sword. See, I think some of this happens after redemption. And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria. Now, that I don't think is Asia. I read some research and they were saying it's Asia, but no, I don't think so. It's the second son of Shem. It's Asher. There's a tribe of Israel called Asher. Um, so I think it's somewhere, we once had that. That's where the tribe of Asher was. Okay. And will make Nineveh, it says, again the north, and destroy Assyria, and will make Nineveh a desolation. So now we're talking about Iraq, and dry like a wilderness. So apparently Iraq is going to get into this fight against Israel with Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and probably Iran's going to rise up. And flocks shall lie down in the midst of her. All the beasts of the heathen nations, I guess. It's saying Goyim, heathens. Both the cormorant and the bittern shall lodge in the upper lintels of it. Their voice shall sing in the windows. Desolation shall be in the threshold, for he shall uncover the cedar work. Probably I'm guessing at the idols, makes sense. This is the rejoicing city that dwell carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. This is talking about the daughter of Babylon, I think. Hold on. And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria, and will make Nineveh a desolation and dry like a wilderness. Well, I guess it's the same fate that America gets. The only explanation I could think of. This is the rejoicing city that, you see, that sounds exactly like the daughter of Babylon that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How is she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down? Everyone that passes by her shall hiss and wag. I guess there's a name for America being used here. See, America, the daughter of Babylon, gets the destruction comes on her at, redemption time, because when the people exodus out of America, they're already redeemed. The believers, the lost tribes, Israel, and the believers in Yeshua, they all get the everlasting life, because every eye shall see him. They see him in the clouds. So this is telling us also that America is going to get it. And this is making me think all these other countries are going to get it suddenly too. Ethiopia puzzles me. Now, let me check where biblical Ethiopia was, because it might not be where what we know as Ethiopia. Well, it's apparently Sudan. I'm still digging into what some of the other historians are saying. Well, it seems that several historians say that it's Sudan. Let's get a look at a map here. Sudan comes in Africa, south of Egypt. If you, it's kind of next to, sort of kind of next to Eritrea on the Red Sea. It would be part of the land Israel gets in the inheritance. I don't have much on the timing of that. Okay. Some of these other countries may get it after we're redeemed. I don't have any precision on all of this. Okay. Let's keep going though. I got more scriptures. Let me make sure we got a live stream. Check again. Something's not going on right here. All the beasts. Well, I see my hand moving on this. Sudan comes in Africa, south of. So I think we got a live stream. Let me see if there's questions. Trump built casinos in Atlantic City, and as far as I know, they usually have. Oh, okay. They usually have nasty nightclubs and casinos and shows. I think all the casinos have shows where the dancers, the female dancers, are topless and stuff like that. I'm rather sure of that. Remember, Trump's mate, Melania, appeared full nude in porno magazines before he married her. Okay, so Trump doesn't have any issues with that, does he? No. Okay, moving forward. right, we'll go to Isaiah 11. So remember that new thing could happen this coming Saturday, or they may console Netanyahu with another 3 hostages, and people are going to demonstrate, take the hostages, and it may get postponed. But by March 1st, it's going to blow, I'm rather sure, or the 2nd, because we're not leaving Gaza. Okay, the first few verses of Isaiah 11 talking about Yeshua, and I'll read them. And there shall come a rod out of the stem of Jesse, that's David's father, and a branch shall grow out of his roots, that's Yeshua, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Jehovah, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Jehovah, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth, of the land, is technically what it says, Haaretz. And he shall smite the earth, or Haaretz, and that could be the earth, or it could be Israel. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Well, it could be the whole earth, and it also 2/3 of Israel get cut off. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reign. Remember Jeremiah 46:28 and Jeremiah 30:11. It says that the Lord will destroy all the nations he scattered the Israelites into. And that's associated with the birth pangs, and I make that number to be about 125 countries. Everything in Europe, most of the Middle East, parts of Africa, I think everything in North, South, Central America, and the Caribbean, and parts of Asia. Now, at redemption, we get this, I believe. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice. Then they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Jehovah, as the waters cover the sea. Remember, the whole creation groaneth for the redemption. I can find that scripture for you. Let me get it. It's Romans 8:22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain. That's getting ready to give birth. That's what travaileth is, together until now. The next verse ties it. That's Romans 8:23. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. That's, I guess, the Holy, receiving the Holy Spirit. Even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. Now, that is nothing less than the everlasting life. When you see 1 John 3:2, when you see him, you'll be like him. Zechariah 12:10, we look upon him. Matthew 24:30, the appearing of the Son of Man in the clouds. Revelation 1:7, every eye shall see him. Okay, so let me get back up in 11. And the cow and the bear shall feed together, and they shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Jehovah as the waters cover the sea. And in that day, that's probably the Zechariah 12, that day, there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for a sign or an ensign of the people. When that word is people. To it shall the Goyim seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that Adonai, the Lord, shall set his hand again the second time. It shall come to pass in that day, getting the timing yet? That the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, and from Elam. That's Yemen. But they've already came back, but maybe there's, I don't know. I don't think there's any Jews left there. And from Shinar, and from Hamad, and from the islands of the sea. I don't think this is fully fulfilled, of course, but partially I do believe. And he shall set up a sign or an ensign for the Goyim, for the heathen, and shall assemble the outcasts of it. The sign, I believe, would be the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds, because it's referred to as a sign. We could say it's the temple, but the world doesn't see the temple. But Revelation 1:7, every eye shall see him, because he comes as lightning from the east to the west, and he's seated at the right hand of God the Father, seated at the right hand of power. Why? Psalm 110:1. The Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Well, obviously Yeshua's enemies are not all made into his footstool at this day, today, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together. So when he comes down with Father God Jehovah, and they appear in the clouds, his enemies are not yet his footstool. Whom the heaven must receive until the restitution of all things. And Elijah restores all things. These are scriptures. And gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Well, that's not happened yet. There's about 6.5 million of them in the United States alone. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Well, Judah's what we have now. Adversaries and them cut off means dead. They're dead. The enemies are dead. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. This is Ezekiel 37. The two sticks shall be one in my hand. But they shall fly upon the shoulder of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east. That could be Syria or Jordan. Remember, we have an armored column and a lot of soldiers in Syria now, and the Syrian government is not happy. Together, they shall spoil them of the east together. So it appears that we hit the west, and the east at the same time. The east is basically Syria and Jordan. I'm going on a map here. Oh, that's a terrible map. Oh. You also have to maybe look at Iraq. So to say Saudi Arabia doesn't add up because it's down by South Israel now, and Jordan is in between us and Saudi Arabia, so it's not a really great hit. Neither is Iraq. It's Syria and Jordan. But the part of Syria is quite up north from Israel, so that doesn't really lend itself. I would say this would be Jordan. That would be the best bet because that covers a lot of the east land visual. So I would go with Jordan on this one. They shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east. Together they shall lay their hand upon Edom. Well, before we cover Edom, fly upon, who are these that fly to their windows like doves in Isaiah 60? It could be us after resurrection. Yeah, not resurrection, after redemption, or it could be our airplanes and drones and missiles. I don't know. I don't have a clear answer on this for you. It really could go either way. I don't know. But the word for fly is oaf, and it means a flyer. It's also the name of a chicken. For some reason in Hebrew, I don't know why. Let me take a further look at this just in case I missed something. I don't think so. And predominantly, I think it means to fly. Then it goes on, and it says together. Let's check that word. It's 3162. Yachad. Well, I think it's reasonably translated. being united or both. And we know Edom in Jeremiah 49 gets destroyed by her enemies in the plural. Edom is Yemen. So it's not hard for me to imagine we hit Gaza, the Houthis start striking again, hitting ships, missiles and rockets towards Israel, and Trump and Israel together start bombing the Levites out of Yemen and Moab. Possibly Trump goes into Jordan. Just because the king of Jordan said he's going to cooperate with Trump doesn't mean he's not going around behind his back. And the children of Ammon shall obey them. That's northern Jordan. And Jehovah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, that would be the Nile, and shall smite it in 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, this next great Exodus, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. Well, possibly this is the old Assyrian Empire. Maybe that's really what it is. I'm not a historian or cartographer, map maker, but he came up out of the land. Okay, so if it's a highway, it's telling us it's not, across an ocean. You can't have a highway. So it could be from the old Assyrian Empire, likely. All right, let me go to the chat. Check for sound. Egypt, if you take a further look at it. Yeah, the live stream seems to be running. So we're at a really interesting point with this noonday. Just remember that it might not be this Saturday noonday, it may be another noonday, because Hamas may throw a bone to Israel and say, oh, we'll give you the 3 hostages after all on Saturday, and then Netanyahu might be afraid to do something because the public's going to scream, save those 3, get those 3, I don't know. It looks like Hamas is stone cold, not going to budge. They're going to be nasty. I'll be right back. degrees anyway, which, you know, we're used to living in 90, 100, 103 degree weather, not this. So, when we talk about Hamas, if Hamas is going to concede, they would probably only come up with 3 hostages or a very small number. They're afraid to give up their hostages because then they have no bargaining power. Now they're confronting Trump and they don't know what to do. Really, they don't know what to do. They have no historical on Trump in these days to try to predict what's going to happen. They don't know. If they're going to give the hostages up, they're probably not going to do it until Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. Why? They want to get the attention of the world media. And they're enjoying Netanyahu mobilizing the military and calling up reservists because it makes it harder on Israel and we spend money and waste energy. And that's what they're about. So they're going to run this out till the last minute, maybe Saturday morning even. And to be wise guys, right to the end. But Netanyahu's going to hold firm, and he's not going to let them call at 10 o'clock in the morning and say 5 o'clock Saturday, because that's just going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. I think he's going to shut it down. How many hostages are still alive, in my mind, is still unknown. And Hamas might be afraid to turn over another 3 or 4 hostages Saturday that are emaciated. And they may want to try to stall and drag this out to feed them, give them medical, and try to get them in a condition where they don't look so bad. That would take 2 or 3 weeks. But Netanyahu's got Trump on his side, and Trump wants Gaza, and Netanyahu's going to bow down to Trump and do it. So I think we're on for Saturday. But this is end times, and you never know what's going to happen. You just don't know. And there's always the possibility of twists and turns and things you didn't expect. Now, if we do go into Gaza, which looks likely, Hezbollah, which is probably down to about 20% of their capability before the war, will try to do things to us. It will give Netanyahu license to not leave South Gaza. They're not really in South Gaza, so they're going to have a tough time attacking us. They might have their hands on some medium long-range missiles they can shoot into our cities. I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe they don't. During the ceasefire, which is more than 2 months now, Israel has been attacking numerous arms and weapon depots in Lebanon, lots of them, and targeted assassinations and stuff. So maybe they're out. Now, maybe the Lebanese army is going to work with Hezbollah now. I suspect that will happen. One prophecy is Lebanon, open up your doors, let the cedars of Lebanon burn. Lebanon's not going to be a devastated waste place. It'll be ours. It's not going to be destroyed or devastated. Now, so Hezbollah and Hamas will try to do whatever they can against us. You can't launch missiles out of tunnels, and they're going to run to the tunnels. So, what will Trump do? Drop the Moab bombs on the tunnels? Will he? Will they take the hostages in the tunnels with them? Yeah, probably. Netanyahu has to decide: is he going to let Hamas torture Israel, control Israel, and direct the war over a small amount of Israelis in captive as hostage that may or may not be alive? And that's what it boils down to. And that's why America would always take the policy, the position of we don't negotiate with hostage taking, with terrorists. So you'll see Hezbollah and Hamas rise up, and the Houthis in Yemen, and they can't do much to Israel. 98% of their weapons don't get here, and the ones that do fall down inert. So they don't do much. It's rare they'll ever deliver anything to us. And now that we've recuperated from the war and we've replenished our supplies, our troops are fresh, it's unlikely they'll get anything into Israel. Okay, but they'll try. But the ships they can attack, and they've attacked American Navy vessels many times and hit them. So if they do the reproduction of what they've done in the past and shoot at American Navy vessels, Trump will absolutely pop his cork and go after them. Why? They can't do anything to America of any value. Really, they can't, unless sleeper agents. But aside from that, they can't do anything. And Trump isn't going to let America be mocked and ridiculed like Biden did. So he will go after them. Now, what could happen in Syria? Well, the American military bases could come under attack from Yemen, from Iraq, from Iran. All of them combinations thereof. And Iran is not likely to sit still when Hamas is finished off. See, Iran is sitting around thinking, oh, Hamas will rise again another day to kill the Jews. Well, that's the plan that Hamas has and that Biden had and the UN has, but that's no longer the plan. So they are without Hamas, without Hezbollah, and they don't have Syria as a puppet state anymore. HDS doesn't like Iran at all. They hate each other. Iraq isn't much of a threat to us. So when Iran loses Hezbollah completely and Hamas completely, they will rise up. What they can do, I don't know, but they'll do something. This is probably going to take us to the siege in Zephaniah 12, where they're going to just come physically to the borders of Israel. And that would mean in Lebanon, it would mean in Syria, probably in Jordan, and you got Gaza down there. Maybe Saudi gets in on it too. And then the two witnesses in Zechariah, chapter 12, verse 6, burn them up. Chapter 12, verse 6 of Zechariah. Burn the enemies up all around about. And that's timed very closely to the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man. Maybe Elijah doesn't work openly with training the Levites in the temple in Malachi 3 till after redemption, but that makes no sense to me. Maybe it does. Maybe that's the way it works. I don't know. There's things I don't know. But when we see Elijah in Zechariah 12:6, we don't see the military of Israel anymore. Where are they? Where's the government of Israel with the siege, And it seems to be just the poor people left. So I think Elijah does work before he gets rid of the 2/3 of the bad ones before the appearing of Yeshua. These are basically going to be your mean, evil people, mostly Satan bots, and not, maybe not exclusively. And the war can start with Gaza Saturday at noon, but it may take some time. It may not be a 15-minute war. It may be a 15-day war or something like that. You know, I don't know. I don't know, but we'll know soon enough. Now, if you see Hamas give up, which I don't see any signs of this. See, once they give the hostages back, they basically are giving up. Because then Israel turns around and says, we're not leaving Gaza. You're not running Gaza. Trump's evacuating the people. Hamas is going to pull their hair out and try to fight. In the mind of these crazy terrorists like this, these Muslim fanatic terrorists, you got to understand the way they look at the war. If they win, great. Hey, we won. We got land. We got more money. Blah, 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 right? If they lose, hey, great. I'm a martyr. I go to paradise. I got 70 virgins. Satan's done a big, dirty, lying job on them. They're in gross deception. And most of the problems in the world are coming from fanatic Muslim terrorists and terrorist states. Right? Not Israel, yet the world hates Israel. The Jordan King did not look happy. He probably isn't. He's scared. He's got a problem with Iran. And other, Iraq's not nice to him. The Houthis are not his friend. Russia's not his friend. And he has a lot of American bases inside Jordan with a lot of American soldiers in protection. Without that, he would fall. So this is exciting. It's looking good. But remember, it may get postponed. It doesn't give us the day of the month and the year when this is going to happen. It says noonday. So it looks like this could be it, but it can be postponed. And I believe the noon is typically when these events with hostages have to happen. Saturday noon or something like that. I think that's different. So it could be a different week. The second phase starts March 1st or 2nd. So it may not be this coming Saturday, or it might be this coming Saturday. I don't know. At this point, I think Iran's at wit's end and they don't know what to do. Signing a peace treaty with Trump would be nothing. Letting the IAEA come in and monitor them all the time is basically the same thing to them as no nuclear facilities. And once the IAEA comes in, they're going to see they're already doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, so they're going to try to shut stuff down and reverse it. It's not going to go well. Iran's not interested in this at all. The snafu here is if Trump cleans up the war with Ukraine and Russia might then decide it could help Iran and actually do something. North Korea is getting chummy with Iran, and they might try to do something, although what the heck they're going to do, I don't know. They're quite far away. Their troops in Ukraine proved to be fairly ineffective, although they were special forces. And the guy does claim to have a lot of weapons that are advanced, but you don't know. We don't know. If you listen to these claims of the Muslims, Iran will tell you they have a base on Mars, Jupiter, and Neptune that can shoot rockets down on Israel. All right, so that's really what I got for today. Please pray for me to get through these problems with the world system I've got. They're stacking up, and pray I get through them easily. And pray for me and my wife Rivka for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray for our finances. Pray for our animals and pets to be happy, healthy, and whole. They're all rescues. Pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And feel free to write me if you want to tell me how I'm doing. If you want to ask questions or whatever, send in prayer requests, thoughts requests, whatever. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and